Hello everyone, it's Tommy, aka Knowledge, and welcome back to my beginner's guide to Smite 2. Today we are still in part number 11 where we're going over the jungle role, and in this video we're going over some jungle gameplay, okay? So in the last video we did a jungle overview where we discussed gods that you can play in jungle, the items you should be building, what junglers are good and not so good at in the game, and I also gave an overview of what junglers should be prioritizing and doing during the game. However, that was very ambiguous, right? I left a lot of caveats in there about like it depends so much on what's going on in the game, positioning, items being built, what camps are up, right? There's just so much that goes into decisions that you make as a jungler and where you decide to go and what you decide to do. Okay. So hopefully in this video, as I go through some gameplay, you will start to maybe get a little bit of a better intuition and understanding of how to make those decisions. But as a new player, regardless of this video, you are still going to struggle with that most likely, hence why the jungle is a very hard role to play. And all I can hope is that with time, you will start to get better. That's really all I can hope. So you can see me talking in the top right-hand corner here with my audio. I was talking to some friends, so I didn't want you to listen in on that, but I can still commentate over what was going on in the game and provide some details. So the first thing that you have to decide is what relic you want to go. And you're not going the agility relic. You should not be going Sunder most of the time. Yeah, I'm going to say you shouldn't really be going Sunder, especially as a new player. Shell isn't really going to be valuable to you. You're looking at either Aegis, Beads, or Blink. Blink is a higher skill relic. I would not recommend this for new players because it's an initiation tool for the most part. And you'll be without Beads or Aegis. So you'll be without some way to get away from CC or some way to get away from high burst damage, okay? So it's similar to the carry and mid roll. You're deciding, okay, do they have more burst damage that I'm worried about or do they have more CC that I'm worried about, okay? And so I'm looking at, okay, they got a Hoon bots and they have a Fenrir. Both of these have very high amounts of CC. And so I'm definitely worried about that. So I believe I end up going Beads here, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, so I go Beads. And so the next thing you have to decide is which jungle starter do you want to go. Loki is one of these gods where you can go either one because he's kind of ability, but I personally usually like the spear a little bit more. I think that the extra attack speed can be value, but it is up to you.
Gotta watch my back.
I do pick up a couple of health potions just to be safe and good. So now I'm thinking, okay, what items do I want to go? Right, usually you're going your penetration item, 4th item. You're going Heartseeker, usually 5th item. So your first 3 items, you usually in your first 3 items want some mix of cooldown, some strength, and maybe you're going Oathsworn for some flat pen. And then your 6th item, you kind of decide when you get there what's going on in the match and where things are at. I know for sure I want to pick up a Hydras though, because for my combo purposes, I for sure want to go Hydras. But do I want to go Hydra's first item? Am I better off waiting on it? Right, I'm not sure. But I know for sure I'm getting the tier 1 strength starter. So at least, I'm starting to think about it, right? Because what you don't want to do is back to base and then sit there for 15 seconds trying to figure out what item you want to go. You want to have an idea of what you're building when you back, okay? So I am going to make note of who their jungler is. I keep flashing this up on the screen, but not stopping it. So they have a Fenrir jungle right here. They do only have 1 magical god, so I am for sure noting that. It's not necessarily super relevant that because I'm playing jungle, so I'm probably not going defense, but if I were to consider a defense item, it probably makes sense to go magical. Right, and so I'm just taking a look at the team comp. The Hoonbot support is definitely an oddball pick. So I'm definitely making note of that. I'm looking at my team. I see that I have a Nuwa crit, maybe, with the aspect out of the solo lane. Not. So they're definitely not going to be a frontline solo lane. So we're going to probably be lacking a little bit of frontline in this game. So that's something that I'm noticing. And they're into a Mulan, and I'm not entirely sure how that matchup's going to play out. So I'm not sure if they're going to need help or not. So that's something to keep in mind on. The Medusa Jingwei matchup, I think, is pretty much a wash. I gotta be wary of the Fenrir CC, and he can be fairly strong in the early game. I'm taking a look. Okay, what's our mid matchup like? Right, I'm trying to get an understanding of okay, who might struggle in their matchup, who might not. Of course, player skill, obviously, I can't get a read on, so that obviously is the greatest factor. But just trying to get an idea of what's happening here. And so now I just like wait at my camp here. All right, I'm gonna do the typical speed start to XP start to Cyclops and red start. I'm not gonna do anything fancy here. I usually don't. I usually just like to keep the early game pretty safe and simple, right? I don't really want to be falling behind because playing from behind is never a great experience. I mean it's not awful, but you know it's always fun to be ahead. So. So make sure that the camp spawns in, like I've said in other videos, and then use your ability on it. So I'm just checking to see right there what items people have been picking up. I'll talk more about that later, but that's what I'm checking right there. So you can move the camp to the edge, right? Just to save you a few steps to the next camp, okay? That time adds up throughout the game, especially when you're in the jungle, okay? So sometimes your mid might be a little bit slower clearing their wave. Sometimes it might be a little bit faster. So sometimes you might go straight to red. Sometimes you might go right to Cyclops. It just depends on the situation. Just make sure that both of you get to these camps. There is a rare situation where your mid doesn't know what they're doing and they're super late to this, or they don't even show up to it at all. In which case you just take these camps. If the mid doesn't know what they're doing and they're not going to show up to this, then that's not your fault, right? You have to continue with your farm rotation. Otherwise, you'll fall behind, so...
Your middle tower is under attack.
So my clear here was pretty fast, and I know that the mid camp over here isn't going to be spawning in yet. So I decide to go for the Scorpion camp. So the upside of going for the Scorpion camp is that you hit level 3 when you walk to mid instead of staying at level 2, so that can give me an advantage. I do see the Fenrir right clear this, and so I just walk into the bush here. I see him going over to left, so I decide, okay, I better get over here, because he might be going for oracles right now, so I want to contest these. But I'm in comms with my mid laner here, and I don't know... I'm going to back this up for a second. Because, right, this is cleared, right? So what ends up happening is that their mid goes to pick up this blue, but their jungler runs over to oracles. Okay, now that's so right. I'm communicating with my mid laner here. I'm like, wait, their Discordia just went over there. She's gonna be late to getting to this. If she decides to show up to this at all, we can 2v1 this Fenrir. Okay, and so I decide to go from behind. They stay over there. I drop this. He's at level 3, so we're all at level 3, which is good here, right? And so I decide to chase this, right? I'm in comms with my mid laner. I know that their Discordia is still over here in mid. I want to chase this, okay? I want to burn some of his time, right? I may not necessarily get a kill onto him, but if I can get him weak enough, he won't be able to fight into me, and I might be able to invade a couple of his camps that are still back here. Now, I'm in comms with my mid, so my mid decides, hey, I'm going to follow this. And so I get the reassurance that, like, okay, somebody else is helping me out here, and so we end up getting a big early game first blood kill. I get to invade this XP camp. And we get a kill in duo as well. Okay, so that's not a typical start. Okay, that usually won't happen. But in this game, it ends up being a big advantage because we get ahead early. So I walk over to duo here just to see what's happening, but there's nothing happening, right? But then I see this Discordia ping this ward. Okay, and so now I'm in comms with my duo lane saying, hey, if she's coming over here, like we can go kill her, right? Like their carry's dead, so they can't show up to this. So we can go 3-man jumper in the jungle here, okay? Yeah, so right, you hear like, let's go mess her up, and so we get a kill onto this. So the Discordia not only left their Fenrir in a bad spot, which I don't think was necessarily intentional. I think it just was like, okay, I'm gonna go pick up my buff. Like, why would I not do that, right? And so we were able to capitalize on an oversight, and then the Discordia, that was not a good play. That was not a good idea to rotate like that. When he didn't have vision, and I wasn't even that low. I wasn't even that low health. So I split that camp with my mid laner. Right, we're both feeling good. Right, we're 3-0 right now in terms of kills in this match, and so we have the early advantage. Right, so we want to make sure that we keep this advantage going and keep it moving. So I do decide to go Hydras first. Sometimes if you're not getting a lot of ganks or early game pressure on enemy gods, it might not make sense to go Hydras because it does have a little lower strength. Your clear isn't as good. But since I have been in some fights so far, I'm thinking, okay, that might continue, so let's go pick it up. And so my mid's over here with these fire creeps, so I decide, hey, I should go help them out. Looks like they basically cleared them by themselves, but I'll pick a couple of these. I see that the Mulan's a little bit low and that our Soul Laner's low, so I decide I'm going to show up here to try to make something happen. So they ult, but the Neath ults. So that's big. And I get beads that. So I get very close to dying. It was a smart beads by me. But then the Discordia ends up showing up, which is unfortunate. There's not much I can do about that. My Nuwa got caught in a bad position, right? Like, my Nuwa was weak when I showed up the first time, so she should have just gotten out and just backed. But, you know, unfortunately, that's a 2-for-1. And I think somebody else on our team died. There's a pause vote here, I think, that ends up going off. Yeah, so my teammates Kyle, they disconnected. So pause in that situation, right? Like, don't leave him hanging. So he ends up reconnecting, thankfully. You know, you never want to be playing the game down a player. So, and that's something I see a lot, is that people don't pause or surrender when they're missing a player. Like, if they, like, just left, pause it, right? See if they DC'd, right? And then if it's been a couple of minutes and they haven't come back yet, then you should probably surrender, because you do not want to be playing a game down a player, okay? That's just a big waste of your time. So I saw the Fenrir, right? So I decided to follow him, make sure he doesn't cause any ruckus to my mid laner. So I have my item here, so I've got my tier 3 Hydras, so I decided I better back and pick this up. And then I think I either go Crusher or Oathsworn here next. I think I go Crusher next, which is a pretty good item on Loki for dude with passive. Oathsworn, the flat pen scales based on your player level. Right now I'm only level 6, so I'm thinking, like, even by the time I get those, would get my tier 2 item, I'm probably going to be maybe like level 10, 11, right? So I'm not going to be getting like the max, like a ton of value out of it, so I decide that I'm just going to go Crusher. Which is also a little bit abnormal to go Crusher this early, but again, we've been doing well so far, so I'm not particularly concerned about that. So I see the Fenrir here, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to show up and try to kill this guy. So we hit him with the 1, we hit him with the 3, and I kill it. Okay, so keep in mind that if you are playing against a Loki, that if they are behind you, right, I'm doing extra damage to you, and that even works on my 3. So I just got like a bunch of free extra damage there by him turning his back. He must have not had his leap up because he didn't leap away. So that's a nice kill onto the enemy team's jungler. So here I'm looking to see, does the Mulan walk out of the tower line? Do I get an opportunity to jump on her? I do have my ultimate up. But I think she knows that I'm here, either from a ward or something else. But then she decides to engage my Nuwa, who's low. Unfortunately, the Hoon bot shows up, so we get the kill on the Mulan. A big ult there from the Neath. I also ult the Hoon bots to make sure that the Nuwa doesn't die, and we don't get the kill, but the Nuwa stayed alive. It is unfortunate to burn 2 ults in that situation. My Nuwa should have probably, I don't know what they actually could have done, but it is what it is.
Their light fades. Stay vigilant.
So there's a kill there. That's unfortunate. My support was there, so it's not like I was leaving them alone. So right, I've got some camps coming up over here on the left-hand side, so I decide to farm over here. I don't see anybody on the enemy team that's particularly low. So right, I'm looking here, right, I see that, okay, they have a low Fenrir here, so this might be something to jump on, right? And so there, I think I thought I had my ult up for some reason, and I didn't, so it could have been a disaster, but it ended up working out. If I ult in there, I think I die because they actually had 4 players there, so probably a good thing I didn't actually go in there. So I'm just trying to be annoying here, right? And then I see a little bit of an opening on the Discordia, right? So I go and poke her a little bit. I stole my ult up, and so I am able to ult the Jingwei there, and then I get the kill, which is very big. So now I'm looking for somebody. Yeah, it's right there. Their Mulan's coming in, so I decide to walk backwards. Their Fenrir comes in, and he's gonna kill me here, unfortunately. Yeah. So that was a good play by him to kill me when all I was low. My Sylvanas did a good job there. So that tracks. So right now, like when I'm in the respawn zone, I'm taking a look like, okay, what camps are coming up on both sides? You know, what's the state of this fight in mid? That's what I'm thinking about, right? We did just get some Naga lane pushers as well, so I could teleport up a lane. I decide though that I really haven't ganked the dual lane yet, and so I've got some camps over here that are up, so I'm gonna go farm these camps. And it's one thing, like, I made a decision to go to these camps, right? Yeah, the Nuwa died over here. You can't, like, it would have taken me too much time to back and then take the teleport to get over there, so I never had a chance of helping her out. You can't always foresee everything that's going to happen. And so I pick up these camps, right? I'm taking a look like, okay, the Jingwei's over here, but she's kind of pushed back. The oracles are up, so I go for oracles, right? I'm hovering over here because I'm thinking that there's going to be action on this side of the map over here, either in mid or in duo. And so it looks like their mid lane pushes up a little bit. Their Discordia is a little bit low, and I get a comp, and I get a nice ult onto her. So that's big.
The hunt claims
right? So seeing that somebody's low health, right, is also like a big indicator. Because if somebody's full health, right, there's always that like slight doubt of, okay, will I have enough damage, right? And you usually have to like perfectly hit everything, right? But if they're, you know, at half health or 75% health or 25% health, right, then like my single ult was enough damage to kill her, right? So that's a big deal, right? If you can not have to use your entire ability rotation to kill somebody, because that leaves you possibly abilities that you can use to get out if you end up in a bad situation, okay? So
your right tower is under attack.
So I do this, right? And then I decide to start dropping my 3 and my 1 onto her. That's a good pull by the Sylvanas. This is overkill by the new auto ult there. I mean, got 4 people standing around her. Like, I don't think she's getting away.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your team is
actually, I want to back up here because I want to take a look at that menu here to point out some things that I might be taking notice of. So right, I've opened up my menu quite a few times in this game, right? I necessarily haven't described this, so I would have seen some of these things earlier than what you might have, just getting the brief glimpses up here, right? Because when I open up my menu, right, I'm usually looking in the section of the screen that I know that the relics are, for example. But if I just like open up the menu and you're watching a video, you're not necessarily going to see that. So what am I looking for here? Their Discordia, right, went Aegis. Okay, so they're going to be able to avoid some of my damage. But the Mulan, their support, and the Fenrir do not have such luxuries. They went offensive relics. And the Jingwei has the beads, so she's not going to be like crippled or stunned by my ultimate, for example. So that's something to keep in mind.
Your team has destroyed a right enemy tower.
So I get my Crusher. I'm going to go into Osworn next for some flat pen. This way I've got some cooldown right on line too, and cooldown is pretty big in the early game on junglers to make sure that you can farm effectively and make sure your abilities are up when you go into fights. So my speed was up, right? So I decided to prioritize the left part of the map. This is part of the reason why junglers are usually on the left side of the map more often, because their speed is over here. So when their speed's up, they're prioritizing that. And they have the XP camps over here along with the Cyclops camp as well. And because there's 2 people in the dual lane, there tends to be more action over there, along with the mid lane, right? When the support rotates to mid, right? There's going to be more action over there. Sometimes there just isn't a whole lot of action going on in the solo lane, okay? But we're winning this game. We're not up by a ton. We haven't really gone for any objectives yet. So I see a ward ping right there. So I'm like, I better go help out this Medusa. So I head on over here. She gets some good peel there. And so I'm targeting the Fenrir here, right? And so I ult him, hit him with my 1, and we get that kill there. Now their Hoon bots is kind of low, but their Discordia showed up, so I don't want to be in a bad position here. And so I decided to get out. So I want to back this up here real quick, because there's something that I want to show you here. So right here's my Hydra proc. Okay, so I activate my 1, so that's an ability, so I have a Hydra proc here, right? So then I throw out my 2, so it resets the Hydra proc here, which is fine. And then I 3. Okay, what I probably should have done is I should have autoed and then 3'd to get more damage, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, so then I ult him, I auto, and then I just knock him down with the autos. Okay. So I didn't like combo perfectly there, but I didn't need to.
That was your best trick?
I was more concerned about making sure that I got off as much damage as possible there. So Fenrir could have gotten away but thankfully he didn't. Otherwise I probably would have been kicking myself a lot more about not autoing in between my abilities to get the extra Hydra's damage. But that's something that you should be watching out for as a jungler. 100%. I was about to go left, but then I decided to go mid. I saw more action in mid.
The wilds grow quiet. The hunt claims another life.
I'm over here.
The good news is that right after you 1 and you auto your 1 for the ability damage, you also get the Hydra's proc damage, so that is something to keep in mind. So now the fire creeps are up, so I want to prioritize these here. I haven't actually been over to the fire creeps too much, as much as I would normally like to in this game. There are junglers there, but it's a 2v1 for him, so he doesn't go in, which is probably wise for him. So right here are here, let me back this up here, because right, so I decide to, okay, I'm a little bit low, so I'm gonna go hide over here. Right now I see a bunch of their team show up. Okay, so I'm somewhat low health, right? I don't want to be in the thick of this fight. It's better for me to like loop around back here and make the enemy team forget that I was there, and so that they don't know where I am. And then if when the team fight breaks out over here, right, if somebody's low or something happens, I can re-engage to potentially kill somebody or get some of my teammates out or whatever. So there's a big pull right there, so we end up getting a kill. You know, they got somebody weak here, which I think is the Hoon bots who's back here. So he gets another pull there, so right, that's something to keep in mind. But the Mulan's messing up my team, so I go in to make sure we're killed quickly. I decided to ult this because I wanted to make sure my team could get the kill onto this here. I didn't know if the Jingwei was going to be there either. Right, I don't see the Jingwei here. Like, I see her for like 2 frames before I ult it. Right, so unfortunately she's there, but it gets my team, it gets the Discordia removed from the equation, which I'm happy with. I'm willing to take that trade, right? That's one of their biggest burst damage dealers gone for my life, which I would argue isn't quite as valuable as their Discordias. So okay, so now, right, we're looking at, okay, my speed's about to be up, so every single one of my camps is about to be up over here on the left-hand side. And I already have a Scorpion Eye, so I'm not, like, super worried about getting the Scorpion camp right now. That is something that I do like to do. I like to save my Scorpion Ward for when I don't know where the enemy team is, or I think the enemy team might be an objective. That way I can ping the map to know, are they on that objective? Are they where I think they should be, right? But if your team's warding correctly, then you don't need to use it as often or prioritize that. It looks like my Neath just went and picked it up, which is totally fine. Like, right, like all my camps over here on left were up, and so my Neath decided to take some of my camps in right. I'm fine with that, right? I think in jungle that if, you know, especially when you're ahead, right? If you're mid or solo or somebody on your team who's behind is picking up a couple of your camps, I don't think you should get mad about that, right? You want to be able to get them back into the game and able to do some damage. If they're taking too many of your camps, then that's an issue. But So she dashes right there. I decide to 1. She's looking for me. I get some ult help, but I don't need it, right? I'm gonna kill her here. The new actually ended up getting the kill. She almost actually got away from me, but good thing she didn't. Good help by the team. So I'm calling retreat here, right? Because they're in our mid lane, right? I don't want them to push up mid. I'm low health, so I'm gonna back, but I don't want them to go for that. So I got my Oathsworn, which is pretty big. My team is on the Gold Fury over here. And I would like to get there. Unfortunately, I don't have my teleporter up, so I can't get there quickly. My teammates wisely drop this as their team starts to show up. And so now the enemy team's on it. So I want to go in here and try to do something, right? The key thing here is that usually as the jungler, you want to come from behind, like in the direction that this Neath is, you want to come from behind. Ideally, if you don't have time, right, you might have to straight line it in, but ideally you want to try to be flanking and coming into the enemy team from outside their forward range of vision so that you can get the jump on them. But thankfully the enemy team was indecisive here about the objective, and so it bought me a couple of seconds, right? And so right here, the Discordia gets out of position. I jump on her. She Aegises, which is fine. I decided to ult there because the Mulan was going to ult me, and so I wanted to make sure I got this kill and not get interrupted and take damage from the Mulan ult. And so then the Fenrir's in my face, so I'm following him. I hop over this to try to follow him, but he's gonna get away. He blinks out, which is wise. Now I'm in a little bit too deep here. I'm in a bad spot. I'm trying to dodge as many abilities as possible. Right, you see I get a nice juke there, and I managed to get out. Okay, so let's back up here a little bit. Whoops, I did not mean to back up that far. Whoops. Okay, right, so we're coming in from behind here. And so I throw this out here, right, and I see the Discordia disengaging away from, like, disengaging and walking backwards. Okay, and so she's away from the Fenrir and the Hun bots, so she's a good target to go on. Alright, so I open up onto her. She Aegises, which is fine. You know, that'll happen. She used her Relic. And so I decide to stay on her, right? Because the Aegis is going to expire. I still think I can kill her. But then the Mulan ults me, right? In an attempt to peel for this Discordia. Okay, good play by the Mulan. Okay, I don't want to get hit by the knockup that's about to hit me from the Mulan. I want to get this kill. I want to get the Discordia out of this fight. So I ult her, which provides me the CC immunity to not get hit by the Mulan ultimate. So I get this kill. Was it necessary? I mean, I could have beads her ult, but I don't know. Like, the Discordia could have dashed with her 3 away. I just wanted to make sure that we got the kill. Okay, that was my priority here. And having an enemy team member dead also gives encouragement to my team, like, hey, we should engage onto these guys. We can go kill the rest of them. Especially after I turn around, right, and then can get some damage going on the Fenrir. Right, so I get the Fenrir to get out of this fight as well, right? So now here, right, my teammates are quite a bit behind me here because they decided to finish up the Gold Fury real quick before engaging, which I guess I respect them for. Okay, but now I got the Mulan. I just got Mulan pulled. I probably could have beads this to save myself some headache, but I didn't. Oh well. The Hun bots is also here.
We're not with you.
Yeah, no. So I get the call out there, right? Like, we're not with you, right? And so then all of a sudden the Jing Wei comes in here from a weird angle. Like, I didn't know where she was. So she hits me, but thankfully my Medusa is able to eat something. I get the juke shoes on, and I'm able to get that to happen.
Oh, that's incredible.
So that's pretty nice
Their light fades. Stay
to be able to get out there. So we got the, wait, did they get the Gold Fury? Maybe the Jing Wei stole that Gold Fury. Because it says up here, right, that they have 1 Gold Fury kill. That's what these markers mean up here, so maybe we didn't get the Gold Fury. Maybe the Jing Wei was able to steal it. Which is really unfortunate. The Fenrir jumps on me here. I open up on him. He stuns me there, and he kills me here, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, I ult out. Okay, yeah, so I ult out. They're still behind me, so I'm running, and I'm running to my Medusa and my Neath here who are coming in, right? So I barely get out of that. The Fenrir definitely got the upper hand on me there. But again, that's an example of using the Loki ult to get out instead of to engage. I see a couple of them in left, but I know I can't really do anything about that. My speed buff is up, so I'm gonna go for that instead. Now the new walk comes over here and clears this. There's no reason for her when she's 2 levels above me to be clearing this. Yeah, I would prefer that she didn't do that, but it happened. Not the end of the world.
No escape.
So then I run over here to mid. I see my team's group, so I want to be over here with my team to see if I can help them out. Do keep in mind that you can cancel that Loki 3 early. If you realize, like, wait, there's no point in having this out, right? I'm not doing any more damage with it, right? You can cancel it. So I know he's in that bush, so I'm just going to throw down my ability to get him out of the bush, right? I want my team to know where he is. Alright, but the key thing is, right, as I'm over here from the side, I see that the Mulan is now pushed up a little bit too far. I think about going in, but then I realize, okay, wait a second, things aren't quite right, so I back out. Which is totally fine. I also realize that the oracles are up, so it's like I'll pick these up for my team real quick. So now I see that they're over there. So I would like to go... Oh no, they just warded it. Never mind, they just warded it. So yeah, so I realize that my team's over here. I'm like, let's go for a Pyromancer. I don't know where the enemy team is, but I'm not concerned about it. I do have the Scorpion Ward available to me if I start getting worried. It looks like a couple of members of their team showed up. So I call it a retreat here. I don't want... So I auto her, then she dives. So I go in to engage on this to make sure we get that kill. And then, for some reason, their Fenrir was still on the Pyro. That was definitely not a good play, but I'm able to ult over the wall and get a kill there, which is big, onto him. So we get a couple of kills onto the enemy team, which is big. So, like, I wanted to go in deeper there, but it ended up not being favorable. So it's like, let's just back up. Let's go for the objective. They can't chase us, right, because they're missing players. So here I'm trying to get behind the Pyromancer because I do extra damage, right, with my passive. So I'm trying to get behind to do the extra damage. It's not a ton, but it can matter. So I've got 1900 gold here, right? So I want to back and get my tier 2 items here for my Titan's Bane. So right there, I'm checking builds, right? I'm seeing what other people are building. Sorry about that. I'm seeing what other people are building. Don't forget about these roaming harpies. Okay, they are golden XP that you can get. So don't just leave them floating around. Okay, you definitely want to clear those. I want my speed buff here, so I'm gonna wait for it. I don't really want to go walk by this. So I get that picked up. You can see that I'm 2 levels up on their Fenrir right now. I'm 7, 3, and 10, so I'm doing well in this game, right? I've been getting kills, right? I've been contributing to team fights. You can see that my kill participation rate is 17 out of the 24 kills, which is good. So now, like, my entire jungle is empty, and every single roaming harpy is also dead over here. So I've gotta go find XP somewhere else and go start looking for their team. Looks like their Rune bots is completely out of position here. Oh no, their Jingwei's here, never mind. But I decided to just make sure we kill the Jingwei here and not engage and didn't engage on the Fenrir, right? Just wanted to make sure we got that kill. The Fenrir misses the jump there, which gets him. Oh, he got it. Wait, did he get out? Wow. Okay. I thought for a second that he wasn't gonna get out. So then something interesting happens here, right? I think he's on this side of the wall over here. So I ult. And I have to beads, right? Because he ulted me, which was a good play by him. So if he doesn't ult there, I probably kill him. Like, my ult damage was, like, very close to the edge of the radius there. Actually, I'm going to back that up. I want to see how close this was. because like I'm thinking he's around this wall over here. Like I hear him back, so that's why I know, right? He didn't just run back, he decided to back here, which if you're at your Phoenix, you might as well walk back. I don't know why you are like back right here. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I ult here. Okay, so I do get the damage numbers, but it's not enough to kill him. Okay, it's not enough to kill him. Interesting. So now I have to beat this. Unfortunately, my 3 wasn't up. Otherwise, I probably hit him with the pick of my 3 and maybe kill him. So I almost killed him there. It was a risky play to do that, but I felt safe doing it, so so I went for it. And wait, he ended up dying? How did he end up dying? What? Hang on, I gotta figure this out. That's his mystery to me. Oh, the new wall ult. Okay, so the new wall ult and then killed him. Okay, that makes me feel better about my play then. That definitely makes me feel better about my play.
Your right tower is under attack.
Otherwise, he probably would have gotten his back off and got back to base and wouldn't have died to the new wall ult. So, so I feel a little better about that then. I see my team's over here. Hoonbot's is contesting, but it's Hoonbot's support, and I don't think he has a ton of damage. So we end up getting the goal 3, which is nice. Right, we're starting to build a nice lead here. Fire Giant is going to start becoming a priority, so it's good to see that we have a ward on that right now. Looks like that was a little bit of a visual bug there with the roaming harpy not showing up. That has been known to happen in the game since it's still in beta, where like you'll see a health bar, but you won't see like an actual object there, and you have to recognize like, oh wait, that's actually a harpy or like a scorpion camp or something like that.
The pyromancer has arrived.
Okay. If I get jumped on here, and I try to ult over the wall, I don't know why I couldn't ult over the wall there. Maybe my targeter was like still in one of the like outcroppings of this camp back out here. So that's kind of unfortunate. I definitely think I get out there if I'm able to ult over the wall. So I think my targeter was in the wrong spot, which is quite tragic to be honest. But it happens. It happens. So 5th item, I'm going Heartseeker, right, because I want to start being able to do % health damage, especially to their front line.
Your left tower has been destroyed.
So the Medusa, I mean the Jingwei almost kills the Neath here, but the Neath kind of gets some style points here. The Medusa did not play that correctly at all. I actually want to back this up because I think this is important, right? Like,
Your left tower is under attack.
you see this engagement happening, right, as the Medusa, okay? You see the backflip. Yeah, you missed a few things, right? Okay, so the Jingwei is going to ult over here to these trees, okay? Right? And so she might disengage over this wall, but I don't think she has the range to do that, or she can come back and try to kill the Neath. So I don't know why you're over here at this wall as the Medusa. You should either be going into the jungle here or playing back by the Neath, okay? Because if you want to chase her, right, and she hops over the wall, you have to run through the jungle. Otherwise, she's going to have to come back with her ult and end up over here by the Neath. And the Neath is low health, so you don't want her to die. And just, like, is out of position. Thankfully, the Neath hits her too to get the heal and then finishes it off. But, like, if I'm the Neath, I'm thinking, like, the Medusa just completely nearly got me killed. I mean, that was not a good play by the Medusa, but it all works out in the end, so it's not a big deal. But that's just something to keep in mind there, that you almost, like, you can misplay and get your teammates mad at you, and you don't want that, right? You don't want your teammates to get mad at you over something minor. So I didn't know where they were. I wanted to see if they were maybe going for the Fire Giant, so I used that. I also used it because I was about to pick up another Scorpion Eye right there from the Scorpion camp, and you can only have one in your inventory at a time. So it was important for me to just use it right then and there. So now we're setting up here in the mid lane. We're maybe looking to go for fire, maybe look to pull a Pyromancer, maybe look to go get a team fight here to go, and if we win that team fight, then we go for some objectives. I decided to see if I can pull people away from whatever's going on in mid right now, where the positioning looks like it's kind of messy. Like, I have my ultimate beads up, so I feel safe doing this, even though I don't know where necessarily their entire team is. So I'm keeping a close eye on what's going on over here in mid, because I don't want to get jumped by somebody, and if something bad starts happening in mid, I want to be able to leave. So you can see the Fenrir jumps on me right here. That beats his thing, and I ult him. So let's back that up here, right? Because I'm 3 levels ahead of him here. So I definitely have quite a bit of an advantage on him. So the fact that he even decides to open up on me is kind of strange. So I walk in here, and so he jumps on me. So his 1 right there has the ability to stun if he has enough on his passive. I think I was just outside of that radius, so if he stuns me, this fight might change, and I also take some damage. But so he jumps in, right? And I can't remember, had I just used my 2? I don't remember, but let's see what happens here. Because I might have so I throw my 2. I walk over here. I almost get hit by that, but I open up with my 3. I won him. I beats that, and I ult him for the finisher. So that's pretty clean. Then the Humbot shows up, so I'm like, okay, I need to dip, right? So I'm using my 1 for movement speed, and so that way you also can't see. My team starts to engage here, so I want to hover around, even though I'm low health. I don't want to overcommit, but if I can throw out some damage and help out here and be safe about it, I'm going to do so. So I see that the tower here is getting low, so I want to finish this off. Nobody engages me, which is good. So we get that tower, which is nice, with nobody on our team dying, so that's very helpful. And so we call it a fire giant here. We're all grouped, so it's like we might as well go for this. Looks like they end up going for pyro, which is totally acceptable. So I walk over here to help finish this off. And I've got enough gold here to go get an item, so there we go. I'm probably going to upgrade my starter here. So that's a smart move. And so we're 10,000 gold up. We're calling an objective here, so I'm completely fine going to this. Man, we had somebody on our team with 16 assists. That's quite impressive. So our new right, we called out a Gold Fury here, right? Our new was on it alone, and our supporting carry go over here to the left. I don't remember. Okay, I mean, yeah, the Jingwei's over here, but we called the objective. Like, go for the objective, please. Like, I'm not concerned. Like, if the Jingwei shows up, we can deal with it, right? Ideally, we would just have wards here, so that way we should know we would know if she's coming. So then the Fenrir, right? We see the Fenrir right there. So I'm trying to. So initially, right, I'm like, okay, I'll let them deal with it, and I want to prevent this from regenerating health. But then the Mulan shows up, so I'm like, I need to go in on this, right? So their team shows up. I ult out, and unfortunately, I get bounced here and I die. That's pretty tragic. And I think our team dies here. I think.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Triple kill. The hunt is in full swing.
Or maybe my entire team doesn't die here. I don't remember. So unfortunate that I died. I think a lot of it was preventable because our support and carry weren't there. So if they were in a better position, I think that this fight goes dramatically different. But it's not the end of the world. I'm looking at builds here, seeing what other people are building. So they're chasing this guy. I come up off the respawn. I'm gonna head back over into the Gold Fury area because that's the most likely spot where some enemy members of some members of the enemy team might show up. My speed's also up, so I want to grab that again. No, it's 28 minutes, right? So I'm not necessarily very focused on farm at this point. I want to make sure that I'm in the correct spot where the team is, but since nothing's really happening, I'm going to go farm. So I see the Neath taking some camps over in right, so I'm going to prioritize the camps over in left. I see the oracles are up, so I want to go get these oracles, and I hear the Fenrir on it. I don't know if he got those or not, but he's 2 levels down, so I decide to open on him because he's alone right now, and I get the kill on him, which is very big. That's a good pick. So I'm happy about that. So another Gold Fury call comes out, and I'm happy to go to this.
The Pyromancer has arrived.
Our support, unfortunately, is not here yet, which is not ideal. But hopefully, so he sees the Mulan there. I ping right, and I realize that a bunch of people are about to be here, so I get in the Jingwei's face. I juke some autos to make sure I don't die, but it prevents her from going straight for the Gold Fury. So I bought some time there. I'm too low of health. I can't risk being anywhere near this, so I just want to back. And my goal is to regen health, pick up this item, and get back to the fight as quickly as possible. That way, if the fight's extended, I can contribute to that. But the enemy team surrenders after that, so... Okay. I mean, they had some members of their team down, so we probably were going to go to Fire Giant next or push up mid, so it definitely wasn't looking good for him. It wasn't completely over yet, but... You know, they still could have made something happen, I think. But here we go. So we're on the stats screen. So 28,000 damage. That's definitely a respectable amount. If we look at the enemy team's jungler, right, I did much more damage than he did, obviously. So that's quite big. I've got the top jungle damage, which makes sense. I'm farming in the jungle, so that should be the case. I was placing my wards, so that's good. My carry and mid had a little bit low damage, but it's not the end of the world. Our team had good damage. Our front line was good. The Sylvanas definitely did their job. You can see that their carry damage and their damage is a little bit lower, which sometimes that just kind of happens. 0 wards though on a support is absolute troll. You should never be doing this. I do want to look at the Fenrir build though, because I think he might have been going hybrid ? I don't remember. So I grabbed a piece of chocolate there. You know, grab a piece of chocolate after the win, right? Let's see, what was the Fenrir building? Oh, okay, he was basically going the same build I was. I would definitely recommend going Pen over this Heartseeker here because the only person that has health on my team is really the Sylvanas. Everybody else is pretty squishy. So I think the penetration goes a lot bigger here than the Heartseeker does. But overall, you know, just one of those games where the advantage slowly started to build up, right? I, you know, had a good amount of kills. Yeah, I had a few deaths, you know, some bad engages. That happens. It is what it is. A good amount of assists, so I was participating in the team fights and whatnot. So overall, I'm, you know, pretty happy with that game. We ended up getting the W, so that's always a good feeling. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you learned something new. If you have a question, a comment, a concern, you think I said something incorrect, feel free to leave a comment about that below. So this concludes the episodes about the roles in Conquest. At this point, you are ready to go jump into a Conquest game. No matter what role you get, you should be at least somewhat familiar with what you need to do. So go ahead and jump into a game of Conquest if you haven't already. I am going to do one more video in this series, just to go over some resources and a couple of tidbits that maybe I didn't mention or things that I think are important to wrap up this new player series. So stay tuned for that video. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe.